to my second video. So for today I'm going to be reviewing the Ohuhu alcohol markers, and it does come with a color sheet, swatch sheet already, but I will be swatching them anyway for you guys, which I do recommend always to do when you're getting new supply. So right off the bat, what I noticed with these markers is it's just a number, not a color name, and also the colors match the caps very well when I'm swatching. Another thing I noticed is that the caps do not fit on the other end, which is very annoying, and I know, knowing myself, that I'm probably going to lose some caps at some point working with these markers, and that is going to be very annoying. I know that this is the new style of Ohuhu markers. I know in the previous style that the caps did fit on the end of the markers. I don't know why they changed that. I really wish that they didn't. Another thing of note is that this is my first time using alcohol markers. I have used, I have a couple individual set markers which I use just to add pops of color to pieces, but I've never done any full illustrations with them or done any types of techniques like layering, blending. I haven't done anything of that sort with them before, so this will be a very big learning experience. And so today you're going to be able to see my first drawing with alcohol markers. Oh, another cool thing is that these set does come with 2 neon colors, FO4 and FO1. Another thing of note though is that it is a chisel nib and a bullet nib. It doesn't have a brush nib, which is, I know, a deal breaker to some people. But I think the price kind of outweighs that issue. It was $40 for 100 for me, and that was on Amazon, and they were Prime, so free shipping, and that's really awesome price. Oh, and here are just some doodles that I did with the markers for class. I had to draw a favorite vegetable, so I decided to draw broccoli, weirdly. Oh, and here's an illustration that I forgot to do the white gel pen on, so you'll see me just quickly do that. But so far I really like these markers. I know that some people would say it's a deal breaker to have a chisel nib, not a brush nib, but I don't find that much of an issue. I think that you can get used to the chisel nib. I've gotten used to it, blending with it and such. I think it's easy to get used to, so I don't think it's much of a deal breaker. But yeah, and pretty soon here comes Braze. So Braze is an original character of mine, and so I decided to draw her because she has bright red hair and I really want to utilize the red colors in the marker set. Something that does disappoint me is that there's not very many reds in the marker set. My favorite color is red, and there's only a couple actual reds and then some red purples. I don't like that, but maybe there's more reds in the larger set. I know that they have a 120 set, and I believe they're coming out with a larger set soon. But yeah, I wish there was more reds and more skin tones too. Like the browns and the pinkish creams were limited, and so the skin tones are very limited. I hope they come out with a skin color set. I think that'd be really awesome. Oh, and for lining, I'm just using my Tombow, just a little Tombow fine liner. Oh, it's a brush nib, by the way. I thought it was a fine liner, but whatever. Let's see, so here you can see I used the wrong marker to start off with. I accidentally grabbed a pinker than I was going for, but it works out. I use it as shading. But right off the bat, what I've noticed with these markers is that they're pretty easy to blend, even though it is a chisel nib, which makes it slightly harder than a brush nib. I think that it does not hinder the blending enough to be a deal breaker. As I said, this is my first full-on finished drawing with alcohol markers, so it was definitely a learning experience, this piece. But I think I did pretty good for my first try with them. Another thing I like is it was very easy to get a solid fill with them. they're not very streaky, which I know is a big issue with markers is them being streaky, and these markers are not, which is really awesome. I noticed that when I was filling in the skin, and they were really easy to layer. I blended in some purple with for darker shading, and then I just layered it with the others, and you can see how much darker it gets with layering. And that purple I used for the large shading underneath the hair, it blended very nicely. Oh, and here I'm starting to fill in the hair, which again, I wish there was more red colors. It was very limited when it came to red, which kind of sucked when drawing this character, but since her red hair is kind of like a main standpoint out with her. For those of you that don't know, Brise is French for ember, so that's what I named her. What else can I say about these markers? They give a very solid fill. They are pretty easy to blend. They layer very nicely. As you can see with the skin, they do layer very nicely. Overall, I've really had fun playing around with them, as I have been. And I definitely will keep playing around with them and doing more illustrations, marker illustrations. And it was really fun taking on a new medium that I've been wanting to take on for a while because a lot of my favorite artists use markers. So it was a very exciting thing to find these markers that were only $40 for 100, and I'm very glad with how well they work. They do work very well. I've seen a lot of people compare them to Copics, and so the fact that you can even compare them at all to Copics is very awesome, especially for their price tag. Their price tag is very reasonable in my opinion. You get a big bang for your buck. So yeah, I'm very happy with this purchase, and I would recommend these markers to any other beginner who is thinking about taking on markers. Or I think that they would be good for just anyone, really. Yeah, if you want to add like pops of color to your sketchbook, I would recommend these. Or even if you don't want to do full-on illustrations. And really, in time, you can only see how they are durable, but so far I haven't had any issues with drying out really quickly or anything like that. So I will